due to the unrest. Witnesses said that demonstrators also blocked a bridge linking Kassala with the rest of the country on Friday. They said public transport and motorists were barred from entering or leaving the riverfront city of Kassala. Since Monday, demonstrators have impeded access to Port Sudan, the country's main seaport and a vital trade hub for its crippled economy dependent on exports.
Egypt's exports of chemical industries and fertilizers to the African market amounted to about $1.2 billion in 2020, accounting for 23% of the continent's total global exports of the chemical industries. This statement was made by the executive directors of the Export Council of Chemical Industries and Fertilizers, Manar Nasr. Nasr was speaking during a seminar on the Manassa platform, organized in cooperation with the Central Bank, the African Import and Export Bank, and the Export Council for Chemical Industries and Fertilizers. To shed more light on that, we are very much delighted to be joined over the phone by Dr. Pacinthe Fahmy, our economic expert and former member of Parliament. Dr. Fahmy, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, madam.
How are you, Dr. Pacinthe?
I'm fine, thank you very much.
Dr. Pacinthe, how would you describe the trade ties between Egypt and the African countries?
Can you repeat your question, please?
How would you describe the trade ties between Egypt and the African countries?
Egypt will play a major role, and I repeat, will play a major role in the coming period. Why? Because of its location, because of the activities which has been conducted during the last period, because of the improvement of the climate for investment, because of its location, and it will play a major role in the trade activities, not only between Egypt and the African countries, but will play also a role of coordinating the countries surrounding the Mediterranean, Egypt, and then through the African countries. We have strong ties with the African countries. We are meeting all the time. We understand each other. The infrastructure is helping us to enter into Africa, and it's developing every day. The investment climate is very, very convenient for us to be able to work in the African continent. And that's why the trade activities between us, either directly through the African countries or as a coordinator between the Mediterranean countries, regions, and then Africa, Egypt is playing a major role. And we have seen this, the latest statistics. The level of export to the African countries is increasing, especially in the agribusiness and the food business, because like you know, the whole world is facing a very difficult and complicated problem, which is the change of climate, and it has affected the level of food supply. And Corona as well, coronavirus has as well affected the trade flow from the world to the whole world, I mean, especially Africa. So Egypt is there by location, by infrastructure, by policies, by proximity, to be able to enter the African countries, especially, I repeat, in the food supply, which is becoming a major problem on the globe due to the change of climate, due to the coronavirus, due to the problems surrounding the region. So I think we have a great chance to develop not only the green economy together, but as well the blue economy and the green economy and the industries which are based on them. So yes, as you are mentioning, we have a big role to play. It is improving, and I think in the coming few years, it will be seen clearly. Why? Because we have plans to invest directly in Africa, meaning in coordination with them. They have resources, they have wealth, we have experience in the agribusiness and the green economy and the blue economy, and as well it could be in coordination with now multinational as well. But yes, we are entering Africa. It's moving very optimistically, especially on the the food stuff supply to the African region. During this critical period, the whole world is passing through.
Yes. Dr. Pacinthe, the Executive Director of the Export Council for Chemical Industries and Fertilizers, said that Egypt's export of the chemical industries and fertilizers sector to the African market amounted to about 1.2 billion in US dollar in 2020, accounting for 23% of the continent total global export of chemical industries. How
Yes,
would you
because
describe
as I
Africa's status
mentioned,
as an exporter of chemical products?
Chemical products helps as well in developing the agribusiness, because the agribusiness is done by fertilizers, by chemical products, and as well in the industry of pharmaceuticals. So due to the coronavirus and to other diseases which are affecting the African countries, that type of product and export helps a lot in achieving their goals in combating that type of problems. And on the other hand, it could go into as well joint venturing with some African countries to produce pharmaceuticals, to produce products for developing agribusiness, but they are very important to export to them by proximity, by, how do you say, easy to pay, easy entry, easy exit. So yes, you are right, the pharmaceutical and the chemical industry, and they are all as well, I repeat, helping the agribusiness.
Yes, Dr. Fahmy, why is the African market one of the main destinations for the Egyptian exports of chemical industries?
First of all, by proximity. It's easy to enter. Second, we have a very advanced industry in that field, meaning it's a very old industry, it's very well advanced. We export to the whole world, and we might as well export to Africa because they need that type of products during this period because of they have plans, optimistic plans as well to develop their country. So that type of products are required during this period to help developing very difficult type of industries. So it is not by itself utilized, but it is utilized as a base of production for other industries. So it's a very long list, and I think it's very important for us to export to them during this period. We're highly technical in that respect. We, by proximity as well, is easy to enter. Third, easy to even if they don't have, if you like, cash money to pay, we could, how do we say, take some products of theirs instead of having immediate payment in cash, barter deals, as we call, or counter deals. But that's why they need that type of product during this period where they are building as well their own industries and their own economy. It is a base of many industries when you come to developing economy in any country in the world.
Yes. Dr. Fahmy, what obstacles impede the challenges facing the increasing exports and strengthening trade industries and fertilizer? How do you see the obstacles here and how we can face these obstacles and these challenges?
Two major obstacles. The first one is the infrastructure, the way to communicate. We need to develop, like we are doing in Egypt, roads, railways, transport by water, whatever.
Yes.
So first of all is the infrastructure, especially the transport systems. Second, which is extremely important, the payment system. Because we cannot continue on trading counter trade, meaning we take a product and you give them a product, barter deals. No, we need to have and develop a way of having a strong financial system. Would it be banking system? We could open branches over there, or developing their stock market. So the payment exercise is extremely important, but we cannot all the time take products. Thirdly, which is very important, they are not yet ready with their infrastructure to establish factories over there. And they cannot continue on only trading because they will not have anything to pay except if they give you products. So I think we have to develop ways to communicate. They have to develop ways to pay, would it be by banking system or stock market, and they have to develop inside their countries the infrastructure which could allow them to import fertilizers and other products, and based on them they could develop other industries. The strategy is known, they are working on it, but they need finance. And here comes the role of the major international institutions like the World Bank, the IMF, the African Bank, and some other ways of finance like the the counter trade, like whatever, many type of
Yes.
finance they could depend on. But major is the finance, the infrastructure, the communication system, and if they solve those three, they are in it.
Indeed. Dr. Pacinthe Fahmy, our economic expert and former member of parliament, thank you very much for your precious input. And moving on to this report, where Egypt will be hosting rivals Libya in Alexandria's Burj Al Arab Stadium on the 8th of October in the third round of the World Cup qualifiers.
Libya's national football team announced a 27-man squad for the coming double test against Egypt in the World Cup qualifiers. Egypt will be hosting rivals Libya in Alexandria's Burj Al Arab Stadium on the 8th of October in the third round of the World Cup qualifiers, before visiting the Libyan side 3 days later in Benghazi in the fourth round. According to a statement by the Libyan Federation, the team is due to hold a 2-week preparatory camp in Turkey starting the 27th of September until the 7th of October. Libya are leading Group F with 6 points after defeating both Gabon 2-1 and Angola 1-0. Meanwhile, Egypt are currently in second place in the group with 4 points after defeating Angola 1-0 in the first round and equalizing with Gabon 1-1 in the second round.
And our dear viewers, with that final report about the preparations ahead of the meeting between the Egyptian national team and the Libyan rivals.